let's get back to this. So these are the cards that have been released since Gwent Open is finished. So we already got super hyped for all of those amazing gold cards that all, like, man, some of those cards are key cards. But then we still get to see some more. This card is so cool. This is one of the coolest cards, I think, because this card kind of comes out of nowhere. This card comes out of nowhere. Centurion Spellweaver. This is a 5 provision point, 4 strength Northern Realms mage unit, who I am assuming is also a human, who on order damages the unit by 1 with charges and gains 1 charge whenever you play a mage. Why is this card amazing? It's not because it gains a charge every time you play a mage, it's that it's a unit that holds charges in Northern Realms. So let's say I don't play a lot of mages, but I have a lot of stuff that gives charges, it's still good, right? So like this card seems like an absolutely solid card. It seems like it could be better than Arbalest in some decks because it comes down at 4 points. Just so I'm clear, and sometimes mages... Oh, damage. Oh, man. So damage has mage in it, has M-A-G-E in it. So let's just... This is going to make this slightly low. So Damn Sorceress is a fantastic mage card. An absolutely killer card to go with this. 100%. This is damage. Ah, the Aretuza Adept is a mage. And say what? It has a zeal and it also gives a charge? Like, this bronze core looks scary, right? So you have this thing... This thing comes with a charge. This thing gives a charge twice to the Centurion Mage. Okay, so now it's starting, and I'm also running crazy removal with Damn Sorceress. Like, these 3 cards already, I'm already like, that's a deck. It's got to be. This is a deck. You build this, you can build this bronze core into probably any leader, right? This just seems like a solid bronze core that doesn't require a leader to help it. But if you have Meave, you're protecting these engines, and if you have Demavend, you're giving charges to these new units that have charges. Like, it's Demavend, and we don't really know about the new leader. I don't think the new leader will care about charges because Demavend does, but we don't really know what the new leader does. But the Aretuza Adept looks really great. Banard Tutor is a mage as well, which is, I mean, look at this. They all work together. Let's say you don't want to actually spend the charges on the mage. He just stands there charging up like Goku. And then the Banard Tutor is, and the Banard Tutor was already seeing play like with Visagoda in some like early Northern Realms concepts. Shout out to Delta. Sheila is a mage, and she's not bad. Even Tailbot ran him in Gwent Open. She's not... I don't know if she's... Personally, I don't think she's better than Murktabraka, but in this mage deck, she would absolutely be better. Also, she's a deploy effect and an order effect, if you care about that stuff. Margarita is... Margarita's a good reason to run... Margarita has so much support here. She has charges, which makes her better than Dora Gray. She has zeal and order, which makes her better than Dora Gray because she triggers order. Plus, she's a mage, so she's better now with the Centurion Spellweaver. And then, of course, you have, like, Triss and Yen and Triss and Yen and, you have all those things. So this card is... I have a huge promising outlook for this card. And if Boosty Boys wasn't so appealing, this would be this card. I miss Death Mold. Okay, Death Mold, Sabrina. I mean, God, there's so many. Like, there's actually too many. So we'll see. This card's dope. The person who revealed this card was my boy Devil Driven, my boy on TLG and long-standing Commando as well.
Commandos!
Shout out to my boy Devil Driven to get to reveal this card, Centurion Spellweaver. An awesome reveal for an awesome dude. Ozymandias, French streamer. This is a card I talked about earlier in the stream or earlier in my review, earlier in the podcast, or 5 videos ago, however I cut this. This is the Inspirational Ballad. So this one is a 4 provision point special card that gives Vitality to unit for 6 turns. So it's the opposite of Undying Thirst or Unending Thirst or Unrelenting Thirst or Unfavorable Thirst or Unbreakable Thirst or whatever unfantasy word you want to put in front of everything that's in fantasy. But this card, I think, is, it's just the opposite. So I think Rune Word is cooler for Northern Realms, so I think I'd run that before I'd run this. But I don't know if other things care about Vitality or if I would care about ever putting this. It just seems like this card seems pretty bad, honestly. This card just doesn't seem like it's ever going to see play. I see, like, the bleeding thing actually being control-y and actually see play, the opposite one, the one that gives bleed. But I think this one is just... maybe you would put this, like, if you're playing something like Yarpen, Zigrin, or like Keltullus, maybe you want to play cards like this. Like Ice Troll, maybe. Maybe you want to play a card like that. Those are some decks that I could see maybe a Theory Craft trying to make that work. But it doesn't seem like this card's very good, personally. A Graven came in with this one here. This is another Polish streamer as well. This one is the Land of Eternal Fable. Land of 1,000 Fables. Thanks, chat. This is a 12 provision point artifact, so another artifact at a really high provision point for Oriole to just sink her teeth in, Vivian Oriole, if you wanted to run this. So this is a really interesting card. This is a tutor for any special card in your deck. And this card itself is not a special card. This is an artifact, which means that Avalok can pull this card, which can then pull another card, and you just spent 24 provisions on this, so it doesn't sound good. This card can also pull Royal Decree, which can pull Avalok, which can pull this card in an endless time loop. It's interesting because Avalok and Caretaker are in the game, so this also means that you can replay this card, which I wonder, because I don't think it's good. I think it's too expensive, right? I just think this card is too expensive. Maybe I'm not seeing... I mean, I look at a card like Kira Metz in Northern Realms. She is a 2-strength body at 10 provisions that plays a spell. And I feel like I barely ever made her great. So if I'm playing a 0-point card that plays a special from my deck, what artifact synergy do I have that's so damn good that is actually allowing me to lose points on the board and in my deck? It's priced like Royal Decree and treated like Royal Decree. And Francesca would use it. Yeah, I'm throwing this out there. Sorry, Viper99 saying good with Francesca. Like, that makes sense because if you absolutely needed if you're building a Francesca deck around one special card and you need it, you play this card to get it. But I mean, just like every tutor, it just seems like it's too expensive. I just think this card's not good. Team Gaunter from... This is a great reveal. Check out Team Gaunter. Check out the YouTube link that you can see here. I'll try to remember to get it in the description, but I know this is going to take me a million years to cut and perfect it. So all I'm going to say is that go to Team Gaunter, add Gaunter KR, or just go to Play Gwent and find this retweet, because the reveal video for this card, Menagerie Keeper, is really good. And the card itself is not that good. I got to say, the card's not that good, but the reveal is good. This is a Nilfgaard 5 provision point, 2 strength beast or human, not entirely sure what this card is classified as, or soldier, or none of those things, really. I'm not really sure who is really the star of this card. The Menagerie Keeper is the person, so this could be a human. It could be a soldier. It is a 2 strength card. On deploy, damage a unit by 2. If you have a tactic in your hand, give that unit bleeding for 2 turns. So in a world where we have quote-unquote better wolf packs, which I'm totally fine with, at 4 points, this card is a better wolf pack, but it's at 5 points. And it has 2 conditions. The first condition is the bleeding doesn't get removed for it to reach the 6 value that it seems to promise. The second condition is you need to have a tactic in your hand. This card's awful. GWENT24.pl, another Polish account here, coming in with the Dryad Fledgling. Now, we talked about this because the Waters of Brocklon spawn these cards. This is actually not a token. It's a card that's added to scoia'tael, 4 provision point, 3 strength Dryad unit with Harmony. This is a new engine for the Dryad deck, and that is what it is, right? You kind of treat this like a Necker Warrior, kind of. It's just going to be, an engine that you play, that you care about in general if you want to play it. But you care a little bit more about this card because it's also the Waters of Brocklon pull. So even if you don't play this in your deck, you're going to see the card if Waters of Brocklon sees play. But there's 2 different ways you're going to see this card. One of the only cards that is a unit that you can put in the deck but also can be generated from a card. The only other exception I can think of right now is Drog and Kedwini Revenant. Gravekeeper, a Korean player, revealed only just 1 card here, but he revealed it like this. He posed for it for the video people. He posed like in the card art, so he actually like edited himself into the art, kind of also wearing like a plastic bag on his head to mimic the actual hat. I love it. This is the Centurion. Who is this? Centurion Enchantress. It's important. All these content creators, follow them all. They're amazing. All right, so this is another 4 provision point card for Northern Realms, and it's a 3 strength unit, and it's probably a mage, so look out. The Centurion Spell Reaver deck is looking really good right now. Or at least that bronze package and whatever gold's top, whatever frosting goes on that cake. The cake part looks like deep and delicious. So on deploy, this 4 provision point, 3 strength, human, let's assume human mage, gives vitality to a unit for 2 turns on the ranged row. But if it's bonded, much like the Plumard was one of the first cards revealed in Crimson Curse, if you play this next to the same card, which is the Centurion Enchantress, you then give vitality for 4 turns instead. So you're very much encouraged to play 2 of these cards. And you're playing 2 of these cards, you're playing things that care about boosts. So you're playing stuff like Trident Infantry. And you're getting an upside if you draw them both in round 1, which you want to do anyway, because you don't want to draw your 4 provision point cards later. So just makes round 1 like better. And round 1, getting value out of your round 1 cards, I'm telling you, that's the name of the game right now. But I think you can't play all of these awesome cards, right? The Northern, if there's the achievement for playing like all bronze or like low provision, like Northern Realms, like I feel like has the deck, because you can put like 2 of their bronze cores together, like the Blue Stripe the Commandos Scout engine list with orders, and then also these formation cards that also have orders that also give charges, and these centered cards that care about mages, and the mages also give charges. Like I'm just thinking, like you can only put so many of these good cards. This is a great reveal though. I love this card. But it just keeps on coming. This is another card from a Korean player. This is Tsinch or Zench 08616. 0816 is the Twitter handle here. So this is, hey guys, you don't have to use the useless bomb heaver anymore. Dancing Star has come with the shooting shotgun. Oh yes. We have a 5 provision point neutral special card. Destroy an artifact or damage a unit by 3. There you go. It is an alternative to bomb heaver, and just like the Thaw card, which is an alternative to Scout, or an alternative to Clear Skies, or an alternative option. That's what this is. It's just an alternative option, alternative tech, but it's a special card, and I'm wondering if there's going to be something going on with these bomb cards. Like, something is going to have to care about these bomb cards. There sure are a lot of them. And we have another bomb. This one coming from Stray Dog, or Straydo 9, but I imagine the 9 is a stylized upside down G. Northern Wind. This is the thing that I saw today, this is the thing that kills Ruin before Regis does. This card is very, very meta-influencing. This card is intensely meta-influencing. And it's not just one thing. It's not just one thing about this card. This card has a couple of things. First of all, 4 provisions for a card that can be considered a tech is already good. Second of all, 4 provisions for a card that deals 4 damage is stupidly good, right? That's so good. What does that? And then if you kill also with the added bonus, like this could just be 4 damage for 4, and I think it would still see play. Should be 5 points or 3 damage. That's what the chat's kind of given me. But I think that the standout about this card is that it's a 4 provision point, 4 damage unit that in the very least, you can think of every matchup where this matters, maybe. Anything that cares about resurrection, you can just build your pings around killing a unit with this. I forget, the banish does not stop. Does the banish stop the Death Wish? I know it used to do that in Vintage Gwent. I think the fact that it used to do that in Vintage Gwent, I keep forgetting if it actually does it now. But so anyway, I just think this card is like super, super good and will definitely influence the meta in a huge way. And I'm worried that it's going to invalidate something. That's all. I'm worried that it's going to like totally invalidate something just because of how easy it will be to put this in the deck. But I mean, if Centurion Spellweaver is so scary, this card is like, well, at least I have a really cheap 4-ping for that crazy 4-point engine that just got introduced. But we're not even done yet. We're still getting... Now, here are the reveals that started today. These are the ones that are just from today. So, let's go. The spirits are really cool. I mean, the card art is really cool. Now, this is also a very important neutral card. So I feel like we got to see some real meta definers. The Peller here. This was revealed by Yoonspam. So this is a 5 provision point, 3 strength neutral human maybe mage that on deploy purifies a unit. Very simple. We might see one of these all over the place. I think that these might just be one-ofs. Nilfgaard probably doesn't care about this card because the Diviner with Assimilate is strictly better. So Nilfgaard wouldn't play it, but this is an option outside of Nilfgaard if you want to run like a cheap Purify that is also a body. And if this is a mage, then you can do other stuff with it with Northern Realms. If this is a human, which it looks like it's a human. So there are some stuff in there, but I mean, it's possible that you're just going to need a neutral Purify in your faction, and this is going to be your best option. And if it isn't, then this is a filler card. Oh boy, and here's Impetuous Panda, and what a reveal. What a roller coaster this reveal was. Impetuous Panda revealed this, but he was given the wrong art. This is the Teshem Mutna sword from Blood and Wine. This is another artifact on deploy, an 8 provision point artifact. On deploy, damage unit by 4. If it has a shield, destroy it instead. The reason why this card is cool is think about Vanamar, think about Old Menno Cohorn, think about units that care about your opponent's status and kills those units. So there's nothing that gives a unit a shield yet. If there is, though, that card's better. If there isn't, that card's just overpriced and not very good, right? All right, so that's the end of the reveals on Play Gwent, but Reddit is still hard at work. So let's see. We have the Chinese community that revealed 2 pretty cool cards here. This is Yingdi Wang Yi saying, don't want to hurt Gwent community. Not sure why. This is another 4 provision. Now we're starting to see what the bottom end looks like for every faction, which is good because previously in the podcast we established that we are all butt men and women. So we like to know what the butt of the deck looks like, the bottom. So 4 provision points, 2 strength, on deploy, damage an enemy unit by 2. If it has at least 6 power, damage it by 4 instead. I mean, it's good, right? Like, it's probably going to hit something, but it can never kill any. It can only kill something at 2, or that's it. Otherwise, it's not killing it. So it's a better wolf pack, though, for that reason. And you run it for sure. It's a knight as well, and I don't know if that matters. And the art is great, right? In this and Nilfgaardian Knight, right? Yeah, the 2 Saint Knight Errant and the Nilfgaardian Knight throwing out there Marquesas. With that comment. Yeah, you boost the unit, you boost it above 6, and then the Nausicaa Brigade can chop it down. This guy can chop it down. So reverse boost feels like it actually has more actual, like, damaging your opponent's unit as part of it. So I think that this card is a good piece and actually adds for, like, a realistic bronze core that could be built around knights and soldiers. But again, nothing really cares about knights right now, and that's kind of a bummer. But there is another card that got revealed. Oh, baby, this card is a good one. This card is a good one. Oh, the potential of this card is so high. This is the Centurion Royal Guard, a 5 provision, 4 strength, human soldier, let's assume, but could be a knight, but he looks soldiery because he's not mounted. On deploy, boost self by 2 for every other Centurion Royal Guard you control. Oh my god, it's Reaver Hunters. You don't recognize your own mates? Well, look closer. That's exactly what we have right here. So let's talk about this card. What can you do with this card? Well, you can operate it. You can Blue Stripe Scout it. You can Pavetta a number of them back into the deck. And you can Henselt them out later. You can Vernon Roach them out later. You can thin your deck. You can build maybe a consistent deck that somehow thins every card except for Centurion Royal Guards out of the deck. I know it sounds crazy, but with replaying Vernon, it's not all that crazy with Pavetta. So it's like probably not unrealistic. Northern Realms could get to 0. It's just, was that deck good was the question, not that it could get to 0. So this card kind of, it's like, imagine you just had these guys, but you need to have a lot of them on the board, right? So you need a long round and you need your opponent to not interact with it. Will it be good? I don't think so. But will it be fun to get this to work? This is the jank, right? This is the jank. So Northern Realms is they're getting this cool new keyword formation, and they're getting all these cool new mage synergies just with like 1 or 2 cards. Plus they're getting all these new boost synergies, and then they're getting this meme on the side, which has it has a whole deck built around it. Say what you want about the expansion. Maybe if you're talking, I mean, some people aren't super happy with what Nilfgaard is getting. I've seen some middling opinions about what monsters are getting, but I will say that the Northern Realms cards have been red hot, and the Skellige card has been quite good. And I think the scoia'tael cards have been good. Scoia'tael's cards have been less interesting, but more like from a raw power point of view, just seem like they're going to be good cards. This card is interesting. Might actually have a real deck that can be built around it. And I love this card. And this card is so awesome, and it looks good. And I just love it. It's just a cool card. And I cannot wait to see, like, if Northern Realms gets no more support for this deck, I already see it, like, happening. But if there's, like, anything that makes this card better, then this card might actually have a chance. It might actually have a chance at seeing play. All right. And then there's one more card that was revealed, and this is the one from Grimperis. Is saying the Whispers have twisted yet another mind. referring to perhaps the Heme Flaminica. But this is the Svalblood cultist. If you've ever like not really liked your job, just look at this face. She's just like, I gotta carry the meat again. God, I hate this job. I can't wait to be out of here. This is me before the podcast. The artwork is actually pretty great because she is clearly brainwashed or in a trance. She has a cultist look, right? There is a craziness in her eyes that is very, very flat, and it's hard to get. Drawing faces is hard, and it gets harder and harder the more realistic it gets. And to capture this in this face, fantastic. I would love to know who the artist is, and hopefully we have artist credits. But let's get off the art. Let's actually talk about this card because this card has actually got a really cool effect, right? It's a 5 provision points Skellige card at Skellige human cultist, let's assume, at 3 strength with a deploy effect on ranged. Heal a unit by 3, and if it's still damaged, destroy it instead. So she actually has offensive capabilities. Well, I mean, look, the conditions for her to destroy the card are pretty out there, right? It means you have to not heal it to full and kill it. So the best you can do is kill a 5 that's already at 1. That means you're removing 1 point off the board, and you're gaining. It's a 4-point card. So that's not very good, right? So like the potential for this card is pretty out there. However, it still makes sense because it cares about damaged units in a way. You probably are going to have units that you need to heal because you're playing Berserk. So this card is it's good in the same reason why the Heme Herbalist is good. The healing effect on a wounded unit is actually quite strong. So this card feels like a side grade, if not maybe an upgrade to the Herbalist. You would need to have a unit like Yetta on the board, or you would need to have a spear tip that's. You'd need to. I mean, if you alpha'd in a spear tip and then, yeah, if you alpha'd in a spear tip, if you alpha'd in a spear tip and play this, that's good, right? So, but usually the alpha'd is not hitting a spear tip; it's hitting something that's been boosted, which means that it's not going to be damaged after alpha'd hits it. But this card is just a really interesting. This card is like one of the more interesting cards, like from a price point standpoint and a strength standpoint. Scoia'tael plus this kills anything base strength. Scoia'tael hits an undamaged unit for 4, which then damages it by 4. Which means that if you heal it by 3 and it's still alive, it's still damaged because you damaged it by 4. That's a quick and easy way to look at it, and more of a way to look at the value of a 4-point ping in a meta where maybe there's Tibor or maybe Spear Tip or we haven't even seen. None of the cards that have been revealed have been like huge cards. Like 6 is the highest any of the cards have been, right? Nothing's been higher than that. Giant Oak. Giant Oak is the only big card that we've seen.